What's up, guys? I'm Dwayne,
I'm Alicia.
and this is Blackboard Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there.
Waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya. Complicate ya.
Hey,
everybody! Today, we're going to be paleontologists digging for dinosaur bones.
We're going to talk about Fossilis.
Fossilis is a game designed by David Diaz and published by Kids Table Board Games.
Let's go to the table for an overview of how this game is played.
Fossilis is a set collection grid movement game for 2 to 5 players where the players are hunting for dinosaur bones. When setting up the game, the first thing we have to do is prepare the dig site. We're going to take the 45 dinosaur bones along with the 9 hammers, and I'm going to use this dice cup that doesn't come with the game, and we're going to drop them into this tray, making sure not to eyeball where everything lands. Next, we're going to take this lid and we're going to place it on top and give this a good up and down shake. Then we're going to take the site map and we're going to slide that into the side like so. Then we can remove the lid. Next, we're going to take the 38 terrain tiles. Now, there are 3 types of terrain. There's stone, there's clay, and then there's sand. We're going to remove 3 of the sand tiles, one with amber, one with egg, one with a footprint, set them to the side, and then we're going to take the rest of the terrain tiles and start forming our dig site. So if you see where the X's are, we have to place stone in those spots. Then once we place those, then the rest of the tiles, we can start randomly placing them on the board. They're going to be 25 on the first layer and 10 on the second layer. When forming the second layer, we cannot place terrain tiles on either of the 4 corners, and we cannot place stone tiles on top of other stone tiles. Once we've done that, we would take this player aid, which also forms as a blocker, and we would slide it into this side right here. And then we would take this side tile and slide it out like so. Now, our dig site is ready to go. Next, we're going to take the site map and flip it over onto this side and place it near the dig site. Then we're going to take these skill tokens. There are 18 of those in the game, and we're going to randomly take 9 of these and place them into these spots on the board. Now, there are some skill tokens that have this little frowny face at the bottom. And that's for a more aggressive game where you're messing with the other players. If you don't want to do that, then don't use these tiles. Once we do that, we're going to take the 10 event cards and give them a good shuffle. And then we're going to randomly draw 3 and place it into this spot right here on the board. Then we're going to create a supply of the 40 plaster cubes. And we're going to place a number of cubes on top of the event deck based on a number of players. So we're setting up for a 2-player game, and we will be placing 4 plaster per player. So there'll be 8 plaster on top of the event deck. And then we're going to keep the supply of plaster nearby along with the tweezers. Next, we would take the 33 dinosaur cards, and after giving them a good shuffle, reveal 4 dinosaurs to make up a face-up display, keeping the rest of the deck face down nearby. Now, if you look at these cards, each of these dinosaurs has characteristics which will matter towards in-game scoring. You have the total amount of points you can score at the end of the game if you make this dinosaur, and at the bottom, it has what bones you need in order to make this dinosaur. Next, we would take the decks of 21 tool cards and 24 supply cards. shuffle those up separately, and then reveal 2 cards face off the top of each deck to form a marketplace, keeping those decks face down nearby. Each player is going to get a player mat and a paleontologist of their chosen color. Yes, I worked hard on making sure I said that right. And they're also going to get a score marker, which they're going to place near the scoreboard. Lastly, we would choose a starting player who would get this starting player token. And then in reverse turn order, the players would take their paleontologist and place it onto one corner tile of the dig site. And remember, pawns cannot occupy the same tile. Once the players have done that, the game can begin. So a player's turn consists of 3 steps. They will spend 4 energy to take actions. Then they can buy a card from the market, and then they can claim a dinosaur card into their lab. So let's go over spending energy to take actions. So the player aid does a really good job of showing you the actions that you can take and how much energy it will take, shown by the green check marks. So the first action I can do is I can gain 1 plaster and place it on my player board. And you can try to use tweezers for those if you want to, but I'm just gonna grab it, place it on my player board. That costs me 1 energy. Now, of course, this pool of plaster is limited, and whenever this pool runs out, an event will happen, and then we will replenish the pool for plaster per player. When that pool runs out, the second event happens. Remember, there are 3 events there. Once the 3 events occur, we will replenish the pool 1 more time, and when that pool runs out, that will trigger the end of the game. So the next action I could take, I could spend 1 energy to move 1 or 2 spaces in any direction, orthogonally or diagonally. So let's say on my turn, I decide to spend 1 energy to just move here. Okay, next thing I could do is I could spend the energy to get back up on the dig site. So let's say there are events that happen, some things that happen where your pawn will end up off the dig site. And I will go into how that will happen a little bit later. So I can spend 1 energy to jump back up on the dig site. And I have to jump back on the side that I fell off. I can't be jumping back on way over here or nothing like that. Now, the next action I could take is I could place a sand tile onto the dig site. And remember, we set aside 3 sand tiles. So let's say this tile wasn't here, and I was trying to go over here. I could spend the energy to place this sand tile there. Now I can get over there. Now, remember, if I'm off the dig site, if there are no tiles for me to climb up on, I can spend that same energy to place a sand tile. Now I can jump back up on the dig site. So now the next action I can take is the one that's a little bit tricky, and that is dig a terrain tile. Now, the reason I say it's a little bit tricky, because there are a lot of things that you got to pay attention to when digging a terrain tile. Now, digging a terrain tile means that you're pushing a terrain tile that is orthogonally adjacent to you. So, if you see, to push a sand tile, it costs 1 energy. Push a clay tile costs 2 energy. Push a stone tile costs 3 energy. So, currently on this turn, I've spent 2 energy. 1 to game a plaster, 1 to move. So let's say I use my 2 remaining energy to push this clay tile, and I'm going to push it off the board. So now I claim this tile, and this is going to give me resources that I can use in the market. So I place that by my board. So I'm done with my action. Now I can actually buy a card, but let's not go into that yet. Let's continue. There's 1 more action I can do, okay? And that is to extract. So now that this spot is open, I can extract any bones, but I have to have the plaster to pay for it. So let's say on my next turn, I use 2 energy to get me 2 plaster. Then I use my 3rd energy to go extract it. And I pull this out. So if you look at your board, this is how much plaster you have to return to the supply in order to extract that out. So here's this bone. That's going to cost me 3 plaster. So I will return this to the supply, and then I will place this on my board like so. Now remember, there's a bunch of different, like the bones, like the teeth cost 2 plaster, that bone costs 3. I think that's a rib cage, that costs 4. Not sure what that is. The head, you need to have 6 plaster for that. Now if you look here, there's the hammer. Now if I go in and extract 1 hammer, and I can do this once per turn for the hammer, doesn't cost me anything, but then I will take this hammer, return it to the supply, and then, discard it rather, and then I could take one of these skill tokens and place it onto these 3 areas on my player board. So let's say I decide to take this one. This one says dig stone for 2 energy. It usually costs me 3 energy to dig stone, but now I done got a little stronger, and I can use this for the rest of the game. And these do not get replenished. So now those are all the actions that I can do on that first step. I forgot to mention that when pushing tiles off the dig site, you can push tiles that your pawn is standing on. So that's how my pawn will end up off the dig site. Once we've done the first step, now we can go into the second step, which is buy 1 card from the market if I have the resources. So remember, I had this tile and I claimed it. I have 2 amber resources now. So I can go to the market and I can buy this card. I would take this tile, discard it to the supply, and this will get me a dig site map, which will allow me to move to any unoccupied tile on the dig site. And it's going to give me 4 victory points at the end of the game. Now, tool cards, you use it when you have that, you use it later on in the game, but when you use it, it's one and done. Once I use it, I flip it over. And of course, when you buy a card, you replenish. So if you look at this one, hot coffee, give you 2 points at the end of the game, but it will allow you to spend 2 extra energy this turn, and it costs 2 feet footprints. So tools are one and done. Supplies, you will gain those immediately. So let's say later on in the game, I had this tile and I can go to the market. I can buy this and gain 3 plasters from the pool, not the supply. Or I could buy this one, gain 2 plaster, but it also will give me a tooth bone, which I can use when scoring a dinosaur. So if you see, this has the egg, amber, and footprint. This only needs a footprint and the egg. So if I discard this to buy this card, I lose that amber. Over this card, the heavy chisel has the question mark symbol, so you can use anything, 3 egg, 2 egg, and an amber, whichever. So pretty much that's how you buy a card from the market. After buying a card from the market, I can now claim a dinosaur into my lab as my 3rd step. Now, a player can only have 1 dinosaur in their lab. Now, when claiming a dinosaur, you can take a card from the face-up display only if you have at least 1 bone required to make that dinosaur. So if you remember, I got this bone here, and this dinosaur needs that bone, so I can claim this dinosaur into my lab, placing this bone onto that card, and of course revealing another dinosaur. Now, at any time during my turn, I can score a dinosaur, either partially or perfectly. To score partially, I can take this dinosaur, take this bone, discard it, flip this dinosaur over in my play area, and this bone will score me 5 points right away. And I will move my marker on the scoreboard. Now, if you look at my player mat, If I had that bone at the end of the game, it would score me only 2 points. Assigning this bone to this dinosaur has got me 3 more points. So yeah, it's best that you assign bones to a dinosaur. The other thing I could do is score it perfectly. So as you can see, individually these bones will cost a certain amount of points. But let's say later on I got these 2 bones, that rib and that, I'm not sure what that is, and I assign it to this dinosaur. Now I can score that dinosaur and get the total 24 points, moving my score marker. Also, I can score a card perfectly from the display. So, like I said, I got these 2 things. I can say I'm gonna score this dinosaur here. That would get me 16 points. So I would place those bones here. Discard those bones rather. Get that dinosaur card, and then replenish and reveal another dinosaur. So the game of Fossilis will continue like that until the 4th and final pool of plaster cubes is deplenished, at which time it will trigger the end of the game. The players will finish the current round, and then they will do one more round, and then final points will be calculated. So the first thing you would do is, if you have any dinosaurs in your lab that you have not scored yet, remember the dinosaurs that you scored throughout the game have already been reflected on the scoreboard. You will score them now and moving any dinosaur bones over to those cards. Next, you will see if you got any empty skill slots and score those points. So at the most you can have 3 skills. I only got 2, but that will score me 4 points there. And then some skills will score you points at the end of the game. So this skill, all my leftover teeth are worth 5 points. And they usually worth only 2 points. Then you count up your leftover bones and score those. So these skulls aren't needed for any dinosaurs, but these skulls score you 12 points at the end of the game. Then we would count up leftover plaster, and you would score 1 point for every 2 rounded down. Then we would look at our market cards, our supplies, and our tools, and we would score those points. So this supply card gave me 2 points. There's 4, 2, and 2. So there you have 10 points right there. Now the last thing we would do is take a look at our scored dinosaurs and look at their characteristics. So these are the dinosaurs I scored. So if you look at the characteristics, for every characteristic that I have 3 or more of, I would score a certain number of points. So I got 3 of this symbol on the board. I would score 4 points for that. Over here, I got 4 of those. I just need 3 or more. That's going to score me 6 points. And over here, I got these. That's going to score me 5 points. So pretty much that's 15 points right there. And then we will go around the table, and whoever has the majority of those certain symbols will score an extra 3 points. And if you end up getting all of the symbols, I think there's 9 of them, you will score 12 points added on to your score. Then once all that has been counted up, whoever has the highest score will be the winner of Fossilis. So, how did you like the theme of this game?
All right, so you know what? Initially, the theme didn't do anything for me because I'm not a dinosaur person.
When I told you about it.
Yeah, like some people are. However,
Yeah.
the theme is incorporated into this game so well that I couldn't help but enjoy it.
Yeah. You're actually excavating. Did I say that word right?
Yes, you are. You're actually moving. You're moving stone and sand and rocks out the way.
Looking for bones.
Yes.
See, and it's teaching me how to use big words. I did excavating. I did paleontologist. I'm good. I'm 2 for 2 so far.
You're 2 for 2. Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this game because, you know, like you said, you're actually doing the activity. You're doing what the game wants you to do.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and it really brings you into the thing.
It does.
And I like the fact that, you know, when you're moving these tiles, there's sand, clay, and stone. And of course, stone is heavier than clay, and clay is heavier than sand. So you have to spend more energy to push these things away.
Even that part is thematic.
Yeah, I really did like the theme of this game. It really is incorporated.
Yes.
So, what do you think about the components?
Oh my goodness. The components are exquisite.
Exquisite?
Exquisite in their detail, yes.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yes,
all right.
yes. The variety of bones was cool, and just they were cute. I love them. They were adorable, and the tiles that represented the sand and the clay and the stone. The colors match, and then you know you had the little pieces like the amber and the claw.
Yeah.
So all of that just helped make the game immersive. So I absolutely adore the components of this game.
You're really gushing over this game.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, all right. What did you think about the art then?
Okay. I really like the art. The way the dinosaurs are depicted is really realistic and well done. And again, you know, the amber, the claws, foot, even the colors. I love all of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the art is dinosaurs.
Yes.
So as long as they made them look like dinosaurs, that was fine.
Yes.
You know, and it was okay. Like, the art wasn't outstanding, but it was great because you knew it was a dinosaur.
It was realistic, yes.
You know, so, and I did like that art. And I did like the art on the tool cards.
Yes.
You know, that was pretty cool. So, all right. What do you think about the mechanics?
Well, set collecting is one of the mechanics which made it enjoyable, but also the grid movement was cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
You got to move your little meeple. I wish they had the little Indiana Jones hats on them.
Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what mechanic this is, but digging, using the tweezers to dig for the bones, that's
called the operation mechanic.
like the game operation.
Yeah, that's what that
like
is.
Like the old school game.
Old school operation. Well, it's more dexterity.
Okay, dexterity.
You know, so
yes, but I really like that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
I really like that specific because that really made it feel like you were excavating. So the gameplay was really immersive.
Yeah, it is really, really fun.
Yes.
So, I mean, now, if I could have one dig on it, you know, and this will go right into the teach, is like when you're pushing those tiles, it's a lot of little rules that you got to pay attention to.
Yes.
And they, like I said, they got a whole page of it in the book.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure, and I mean, some of it makes sense. Like, you know, you can't be standing on top of a stack pushing a tile that's way down there, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then when you pushing it, it's pushing, not standing next to it, and like, you know, you're always pushing the tile. So, but once, that was our biggest issue in the first play. But once we played the second time, we're like, okay, this kind of like is easy to us. You know, it makes sense.
It was more intuitive once you got to playing. But initially, when he showed me the book, dude, I was like, you know what? You got that. You just play, and if I do it wrong, you'll be like, mm-mm.
Right, yeah, I had to keep looking like, is she doing it right? Okay, let me make sure. So, which goes into the teach.
Yes.
What do you think about the teach of this game?
All right, so I think that this is not a game where, to me, this is a family weight game. I wouldn't sit a bunch of kids at the table and have them playing this game. To me, this is a game that's more suitable for parents to play with their kids.
Yeah, because they want to make sure that, they're doing everything right.
Yeah,
Following the rules.
It's a bit fiddly for just a bunch of kids to be playing on their own.
Yeah, and also when the in-game scoring comes.
Yes.
And you're trying to do, you collecting those characteristics on the dinosaurs and stuff. So you need to have somebody there that's well-versed in how the game is played.
Yes.
So yeah, this game needs to be played with the family.
Yes.
And you can't use it as a babysitting tool.
No.
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 So overall, how did you like Fossilis?
I really enjoyed Fossilis. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun playing this game, pushing the tiles and standing up, digging for them dinosaurs. Like, I want that bone right there and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, it really, draws you in.
It draws you in.
And the theme it really incorporates the theme into this game.
This is definitely the most thematically immersive game I have played this year, bar none.
Oh, okay. Those big words. Those some big words. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna let that marinate. So that's how we feel about Fossilis. If you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'm Dwayne.
I'm Alicia.
This is Blackboard Gaming.
We will see you next time.